Shalom, everybody. Welcome back to Breslov.org. Insights in the Parsha of the week, Parshat Noach. Again, another filled Parsha. If you look at the Midrash and the Zohar on these Parshas of the book of Genesis, Bereshit, it's so thick. They have an expression in the Hasidic world that in the winter months, when it's cold, so Hashem gave us a lot of warm fur coats on the Parshas, that there's so much Midrash and so much Zohar on the winter Parshas in order to keep a person warm. That's what they say in the Hasidic world. So Parshat Noach is amazing, tons of insights. Rebbe Nachman takes one verse and he brings it down a few times in his Likutei Moran. We may have mentioned it before, but the insight is very powerful. Rebbe Nachman brings the verse of Hashem's promise to Noach not to bring another flood to the world, and his covenant, the Brit, is what's called the Keshet, the rainbow. That whenever the rainbow is seen, it's a sign that there is divine wrath, but Hashem is holding back executing the divine wrath because of his oath and commitment that he made with Noach. The verse says, that Hashem says, and when it comes that I begin to have second thoughts, cloudy thoughts of doing kindness. In other words, now I want to do destruction. So the verse continues, Uritia lizkor Brit Olam. So Hashem says, I will just look at the rainbow, I will allow the rainbow to appear, to shine, and I will see it, and it will remind me of the eternal covenant that I made with Noach. Rebbe Nachman brings in many deep insights on this one verse, one of them found in lesson 44 of the Likutei Moran, the lesson on hand clapping and the Holy Land, where Rebbe Nachman equates the rainbow to the Holy Land. Because what's synonymous, what's common between the Holy Land and the rainbow? The rainbow indicates that there will be no flood waters. There's a prevention of destructive flood waters. So too, the Gemara says, and the Gemara and the Zohar holds by the opinion, that in the Holy Land, at the time of Noach, the flood waters did not reach. There were no flood waters in the Holy Land at the time of the story of Noach, to the extent that the Zohar says that if Noach would have fled to Eretz Yisrael, the Holy Land, he and his family would have been saved. There would have been no need to hide in an ark. So why did Hashem make him make an ark? Like Rashi says, that the nations should see what he's doing and wake up, maybe have second thoughts on their wickedness, on their evil, bad attitudes, and to do tshuva, to repent, right? So Rebbe Nachman equates, going back to what we said, the idea of a rainbow, and also it's called Keshet. Keshet and Brit are also synonymous of holiness and purity, of sexual purity. The organ is called a Keshet, the male organ is called a Keshet, of the Brit of holiness, of sexual purity. So that's synonymous with the idea of the holiness of the Holy Land. So that's what he teaches here. Uritia, that Hashem says that when there's divine wrath, I will look upon the rainbow. In other words, I will look to see that the holiness of the Holy Land is activated. As a result, lizkor Brit Olam, in order to remember what's called Brit Olam. Brit Olam, Rebbe Nachman interprets meaning the power of tzaddikim to have mastery in their prayers. Brit, he says, is the idea of a tzaddikim being able to daven with such clarity because of their holiness. Olam means they're always stable in their holiness and their purity, giving them the ability to daven. So Rebbe Nachman, in other words, is saying here, through activating the rainbow, which is activating the holiness of the Holy Land. How does a Jew, by the way, activate the holiness of the Holy Land? In this lesson 44, Rebbe Nachman brings two pieces of advice how a Jew can connect to the Holy Land in his davening, in order that his davening should be at the level, the caliber of the tzaddikim's davening, the Brit Olam. How do you do that? Number one, he teaches by clapping your hands while davening. It transports you into the holiness of the Holy Land. And another advice he gives, which is much more far-reaching, much more stronger, is when a Jew gives tzedakah, gives charity to poor people living in the Holy Land, so that Jew, wherever he's in the world, is connected to the Holy Land by the fact that he's giving his blood money to someone living in the Holy Land. It connects that person wherever he is, in Alabama and Alaska, to the holiness of the Holy Land. So as a result of being connected to the Holy Land, a person activates upon himself the holiness of the Holy Land. And that again is Ur Itiyah, that Hashem says of such a person, I will see that the rainbow is activated. I will see that the Holy Land is activated. For what purpose? Lizkor Brit Olam. In order to remember for a person that his davening should be what's called Brit Olam. That Brit is always associated with the tzaddik, because the Zohar says, what is the definition of a tzaddik? Man denatar Brit. The tzaddik is someone who guards the covenant. And then it says, so that's the case. So Brit in the verse is connected to tzaddik. And the Zohar has another terminology of the tzaddik. That the tzaddik is called tzaddik chai almin. The tzaddik inherits, it has 18 worlds, meaning the tzaddik masters the 18 blessings found in the Amidah, the Shmoneh Esrei prayer. So that's the idea of Brit, tzaddik, complete prayer being generated through the rainbow, the holiness of the Holy Land. Shabbat Shalom.